My parents never allowed me to have boys sleep over at the house, so when they came to visit me, I made them sleep in separate rooms. When I was younger, I wasn't allowed to have boys sleep over, ever. No matter how serious the relationship or how much begging I did, my parents were firm. Our house, our rules. I heard it a million times. Now I have two older sisters. Both of them had long-term boyfriends in high school. When they hit around 17, their boyfriends were allowed to sleep over on occasion, but only if they stayed in the den or the guest room. I didn't like the rule back then, but I dealt with it. I figured when I got a boyfriend, I'd be given the same leeway. Spoiler, I wasn't. I didn't start dating until I was almost 19. He was sweet, respectful, everyone liked him, and we dated for almost a year. Still, my parents wouldn't let him spend the night, not even once. I asked if he could crash on the couch or use the spare room. Nope. They said it wasn't appropriate and that it wasn't about him, but I couldn't help feeling singled out. It felt personal. That relationship ended. Years passed. I'm now 27, engaged, and own my own house with my fiancé Nate. We're getting married this fall. My parents have come around to Nate. He's quiet, polite, a little shy, but clearly loves me. My mom especially warmed up to him once we got engaged. Still, the sleepover rule didn't change until after. I reminded her I was a full-grown adult and living with him anyway. So now that you've got the context, let me explain what happened when they came to visit last month. My mom called asking if she and her long-term boyfriend, Alan, could come visit for a few days and help with wedding prep. I wasn't opposed. I figured a little help might take the pressure off me. Nate was fine with it too. He's not into big social stuff and liked the idea of quietly funding the flower arrangements while I did the planning with my mom. They arrived on a Friday and everything was fine at first. We had dinner, caught up, laughed a little, but once we got home and I showed them where they'd be sleeping, that's when things got awkward. I pointed my mom to the guest bedroom and Alan to Nate's office, which we had set up with a pull-out just in case. My mom blinked and said, "We can just sleep in the same room, it's fine. We're adults." And I said, "Right." And so was I when I asked if my boyfriend could sleep in the same house, and you said absolutely not. She laughed nervously and tried to wave it off. That was different. I said, "How? Because you and Alan aren't married? Because you've been together a long time?" That's what I said too. I repeated her old line back to her almost word for word. This is my house, and I don't want unmarried couples sharing a room in it. Alan looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. My mom got tense, but didn't argue further. They went to their separate rooms. We were polite the next morning, but they left without much of a goodbye. I didn't expect to hear from her again anytime soon. A couple of days later, I got a call from my aunt, absolutely chewing me out about embarrassing my mom and disrespecting her as a guest. I didn't even engage with it. I just hung up. Then I called my sisters and explained what happened. They both agreed with me. They remembered getting away with way more when it came to their boyfriends, and they also remembered me being shut down repeatedly. They even said they had called mom out for it back in the day, and were always told, "It's different, she's our baby." 2 weeks later, my mom finally called. At first, she said she didn't remember treating me any differently, that it was probably only a few times my sister's boyfriends had stayed over. I pushed back on that gently but firmly. I said I remembered because it hurt, that I wasn't trying to make a point just to be petty. I just wanted her to see that her rules had always felt unfair. Eventually, she admitted maybe they'd been a little more lenient with my sisters. She said it came from being protective of me, being the youngest and their only daughter, that they weren't trying to show favoritism, but now understood how it looked. She didn't apologize directly, not with the words, "I'm sorry," but for my mom, "I didn't mean to hurt you and let's put it behind us," is probably the closest I'll ever get. And honestly, that was enough.